All right, baby. Welcome to another episode of the Martinez Real Estate Podcast. But we don't just talk about real estate, we talk about anything and anybody. So today I have a special guest. His name is Sergio Castillo, and I'm going to let Sergio introduce himself and who he is. And, I'll let him take it away from here. Go ahead, Sergio.
Well, first of all, I appreciate you having me here, bro. It's been a minute, right? But we keep in touch with each other's stories, through social media, and I'm glad that I'm able to be here, on this podcast and to be able just to, chit chat stories and our journeys. But I'm a product of La Jolla High, graduated 2009, puro coyote. Went to West Texas A&M University from 2009 to 2013. Was able to play football for 4 years there. Got a Bachelor of Arts in History, and then been doing this pro kicking journey since 2014, from the NFL to XFL to CFL. And currently I'm in Winnipeg, Manitoba, which is right above North Dakota. And we just finished our regular season 2 weeks ago. We had a first round bye last week, and we're playing the semis here at home Saturday at 5:30 p.m. It's actually going to be on CFL Plus. So you guys that want to check it out, it's ever since we clinched home and which was about 3 weeks ago, the tickets sold out, so we're gonna have about 34,000 rowdy fans. So, and I'm gonna have my family here, so it's gonna should be a good game, should be a great game.
And who you guys playing?
We play against BC Lions. It's the team that I used to play for in 2019. They're from Vancouver. Mm-hmm. So they won last week at home, a decisive win. So it's going to be a good matchup. Last game that we had against them, we had to go to overtime, and we were tied, one game apiece. In the third game, we went to overtime, and we were able to come out on top at the end to clinch home field. So but like I said, they're a really good team, so it should be a really good game.
No, for sure, dude. Let me ask you a question. How many teams are there in the CFL?
In the CFL, there's 9. The farthest west is Vancouver, the BC Lions. Winnipeg, we're central, and then the farthest east, you go all the way to Montreal.
Okay, we'll talk a little bit about the difference between the CFL here and the NFL, because I'm curious. I know that one of the biggest differences that I see is the field goal post.
Yeah.
I watch some of your stories here and there, and I'm like, man, I always think it's weird to see the field goal post in the front of the end zone. But you guys still have 100 yards, right?
No, we have 110 yards.
A la mo.
Because we have in the U.S. there's a 50-yard line. Here we have a 55. So it's 45, 50, 55, and then 50, 45. So, and then the end zones are 20 yards. So it's 110 plus 40, so 150 yards is the whole field.
So there's more real estate to cover.
Yeah, and it's wider too.
How much more wider?
I think it's 65. I think so. I would have to look up that. It's almost width of the soccer field.
Is it more difficult to kick a field goal in Canadian football, or is it more difficult to kick a field goal in NFL?
It's the same because the hashes are the same. The thing with the field goal post being on the goal line, once you get to midfield, you're in field goal range, right? You just need another 5-10 yards and you're in field goal range. Compared to the NFL, you probably need another, 15, 20. Now now you're starting to see guys kick 55, 60 yarders like nothing.
They're breaking your record or what?
Yeah, man.
What's your record?
My record, my longest has been a 57.
That's more from high school?
No, high school. That was 58 in high school, but pro been 57.
Órale. Nah, pues 1 yard, man.
Right.
That's good, man. I remember, going back to high school, I remember our story, but when we you had. Well, I'll let you talk about a little bit about your high school. We're here to talk a little bit more about you than we're here to talk about me. We're still gonna talk about me, right? But I want to know a little bit about your high school. Like, take us from your high school journey to your college journey to your pro level pro journey. Like, talk to us a little bit about that. What what does somebody aspiring to get to the next level as a football athlete, aspire to?
Yeah. Back then when I was in, 8th grade, going to ninth grade, my goal was to get a soccer scholarship. I wanted to play professional as a soccer player. Football was not in the back of my mind. Entering as a freshman, if I could go back, I would definitely, invest, rather than, and I didn't go out much, right? There just wasn't, a lot of money back then, very humble beginnings. I had everything I needed, but it's just, if I couldn't ask my mom and family, to help me invest in something, it'd be rather than going out or buying me gifts, like, hey, pay some lessons for me, right? If it's for kicking or for soccer, which was goalie at the time, baseball, whatever it is that you're trying to aspire to be, always find a way to grow, right? There's someone in your area that's experienced, that has that expertise in that you want to do, and for example, I'm doing photography now, right? I picked it up a year ago, and I started hitting up all the top photographers in Amarillo, and basically I have like 4 or 5 different mentors now, right? And I have mentors here in Winnipeg with our social media team. So it's just, don't be scared to ask around for advice, for help, because it's right there, right? Obviously, you got YouTube now to look up technique, in sports, photography, whatever it is you're trying to aspire. But, high school, I was a soccer guy. I was a band guy. I was in the drum line. Football was not my thing. And I remember my freshman year on Wednesdays, we didn't have band practice. And I'll go chill with the soccer guys at Dayfield, where
I remember the Dayfield.
Jimmy Carter High School, because we used to have 3 high schools at the time. Yeah. And I went to go chill with the boys, and they had a couple footballs, and we started kicking the footballs just for the heck of it, some field goals. Didn't think much of it.
Right.
And fast forward to the end of the school year, there's about like 3 or 4 weeks left. Mm-hmm. And my soccer coach, Tames, he's like, hey, Sergio, you remember back in August, September when you were kicking field goals? And I'm like, yeah, why? He's like, well, the starting kicker on the football team, they kicked them out. And I can't recall for what reason, but he's like, you should go try out. And I didn't go for a couple of weeks just because I was so scared, right? Going to the senior high school, right? And, it's the senior high was just all juniors and seniors, and I was just a freshman. I was all shy. I'm like, no, I'm not going to go over there. Yeah. And finally, after 2-3 weeks, I showed up. I did the tryout. I can't recall how I did. School year's over, summer rolls along, and I remember it's August the 8th, 2006. We're in band camp, and back then La Jolla, we were still
powerhouse.
It was powerhouse. We were one school, so we had a lot of kids in our school, and I remember our band being so big that we had speakers all over the football field, and Mr. Adame would talk through the speakers, like, hey, correct this, or Juan, correct this, Sergio, correct this, right? And I remember him calling my name through the speakers. He's like, hey, Sergio, Coach Villaseñor, the head coach for football, wants to talk to you. And I questioned myself, why does he want to talk to me? I had
messed up, bro.
Right? I had totally forgotten about the tryout, bro, from like 2-3 months ago.
See.
And I remember walking into the locker room, and I remember seeing, as soon as I enter the locker, there's this coyote painted, and it says Coyote Den, Coyote Den, right?
Yeah.
And as I'm walking, Coach Aaron Garcia's walking me through the locker room, and I see 2 lockers. And I see number 24, Richard Cantu, and I see number 27, Joe Garza. They were the only sophomores on varsity at the time. And then I see 26, Sergio Castillo. And Coach Garcia's like, you're going to be a Coyote. And I was like, damn, pretty sweet, And, I met with Coach Villaseñor, and at the time, like I said, band was my thing. I wanted to, I was thinking of maybe possibly majoring in music, and just because I liked it a lot. And I remember telling Coach Villaseñor, I'm like, hey, man, if I can't march, I won't play football. Like my thing is band and soccer right now. He's like, no, we'll find a way to make it work. We've had guys who made it work, back in the day, Juan Osuna being one of them. Right. Who, he mentored me, throughout high school for soccer and football, and shout out to him. And so I was like, all right, cool. So I go back to to band, and Mr. Lam is like, so what happened? I'm like, I'm part of the football team now. He's like, all right, we'll make it work. So my mom would drop me off at 6:30 in the morning, bro, at La Jolla. I would kick in the morning, and then after school, I'll go to band practice. And that was my schedule, bro, just to make it work. And, like I said, I was just very fortunate that, it's just I had my mom to support me, my aunts, my uncles, and, did 3 years of that, along with baseball, soccer, band, and so it's pretty cool. I would get to march at halftime and take my pads off, march. And
I remember that you were wearing your football gear while you were in the at halftime. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I remember, bro. So when we our freshman year, and after we would march, do you remember Felix Barbecue Tacos?
I remember Felix Barbecue. Yes.
Yeah. So they would give us 2 tacos, bro, after we would march, bro. Fajita, with some, with sausage and some barbecue sauce on it, bro. After we would march, they give us our 2 tacos, bro. And when I made the team in my first home game, I'm like, dang, man, I'm not gonna get to enjoy those tacos. And I see all my boys, eating them. I was like, damn. So what I started doing, I would leave my bass drum, because I was in the drum line, on purpose near my kicking net. And my boys, Steven and Roger, they would pick up the drum and they would leave me 2 tacos in my kicking bag on purpose, bro.
Wow,
And I'd be in the third quarter just chowing down on some tacos while you guys were playing.
Y nosotros los gorditos, ¿qué onda?
¿Verdad?
We were eating on the football field.
That's right.
On the football field. Sergio, let me ask you a couple questions, man. What are some of your fondest memories on the football field? Like, what are some games that you remember? What are some, because I'll tell you what, one of my favorite games that I remember, and I'll never get over this one, is, our senior year.
Sherryland
is one of them. And you know what? I didn't even put that one on my notes right here. Sherryland is one. We were down
21-0.
Yeah, down 21. And that's one of my favorite games to ever recall. You're right. You're 100%. But I wasn't even thinking, season. I was thinking postseason. Like I was thinking PSJ game Bears where it was super cold. You remember that fucking game? That was probably my favorite game. You know what I mean? Luciano's favorite game. Watch out the comments from Eric Ochoa, baby. Eric Ochoa says Luciano's favorite game was when he sacked our QB. Gee, wow, this guy, my man. That was a lucky play, baby. That was a lucky play. Just into Eric. No, but that's one of my favorite games, man. Was the PSJ Bears game, man. Where it was a super cold day, and as cold as it was, we were sweaty, we were hot, and I remember we got down the line. The game slowed down for me, and it was just slow. And as sweat was dripping down, you're lined up in front of the sweat was dripping off each other's faces, and the drops of sweat were slowly coming down the football field. And then you would hear the ball snap and you would just take off. That's a very, very vivid memory that I have about that game. And most likely my favorite moment in high school football, man. I have it engraved right here. You know what I'm saying? What about you, man?
That one was pretty cool because creo que nosotros muy apenas entramos al playoffs, bro, al panzazo. We entered 4th seed, bro, and we were not expected to win. And I think that was I think that was the second round because we played a Laredo team.
Yeah, Laredo. So we whooped Laredo's ass.
Yes, and we're like, wow, okay, we're actually good, and we started picking up at the right time, and then we beat PSJ, and then we go to Converse, in Laredo. But honestly, that Sherryland game, we were down 21-0. I remember going in. I think it was homecoming too, because I remember I didn't march, because I remember being in the locker room. Yeah, and because in homecoming games, there's no marching. There's just like presenting the king and queen, prince, and there was just a switch right after that. We block a punt, bro. I think Luis Roldan blocked the punt, and that just sparked everything, right? We returned it for a touchdown, and, we ended up tying them, and then, I think we hit a field goal with like 4 or 5 minutes left, and then we just closed them out from there.
Yeah, 21?
24-21, bro.
I have, bro, look, check this out. Man, I probably should have had this prepared.
Perro.
I have all the games right here, baby.
Damn, bro. Back
One
then,
of these days we'll have to share these, man.
right?
But I have all the games from that season. I had Coach Flores make these for me. Back in the day when I want to say when I first started coaching, he joined the football team. Dice aquí Eric Ochoa that Elias Torres blocked it.
Okay, yeah.
So,
Yeah, pinche Eric, good memory que tiene el bro. Saludos, carnal.
we need to bring him on the podcast también.
¿Verdad?
But yeah, no, I had Coach Flores make these for me because he was able. He had access to all of them. Or Coach Garcia. I don't know if it was Coach Flores or Coach Garcia, but somebody made them for me because I wanted to see these games. I had never seen film like all of these films all at once, so I asked somebody to make them for me. And they were made, and I have them right here, man.
That's a pretty sweet memory right there that you can have right there, man.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude, for sure. Sergio, moving forward, because I know I don't want to take too much of your time. I know you have your family's up there, right? You said
They'll be getting here tomorrow, nomás que tengo que limpiar la casa, bro, porque si no me regañan. Me pegan, me gusta que me pegan, ¿verdad? Pero que no me regañen,
no. Ya
no.
lavaste las vasijas, bro.
Oh, shoot, ahí vamos, bro.
No las has lavado, bro. Luego, vámonos.
Sí.
Lávalas, man. Lávalas. Bro, I want to ask you a couple of questions, man. One of these is, how did football shape your life?
Number one, it changed it changed big time because now I was able to get a free education just by kicking a ball, right? And it was, my whole high school career, I'm like, puro soccer, thinking I'm going to do soccer, right? And, the universe, God just had something else planned and something even better, right? And I went from, just what I thought I was just going to be kicking in high school to now doing it since 2006, right? It's 17 years later. And, just a couple of Fridays ago, it was Friday the 13th.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember my first field goal ever for La Jolla. It was Friday the 13th, 2006. We're playing against Donna High School. We were tied 20-20, and we went to overtime. And I remember it was 26 yards left hash. And back then I had no technique, bro, for kicking at all. It was puro soccer style. And I remember the wind was going right to left. Estaba chispeando un poquito. And I'm like, I'm going to aim at the right post and hope that wind brings it back in. And sure enough, as soon as I hit it, that ball started curving. And I knew it was going in. And so, looking back from my very first kick to where I am now, to now where it's being able to, I'm living my dream, right? I fall in love with the game. I still don't know much about it, right? I just kick the damn ball and that's it, right?
You know enough, bro. You know enough. You know a lot more than a lot of people.
Ahí vamos. So it's now, obviously it provides for my family, and, I'm able to give back in different ways through the platform that I have now, which is, I feel we all have been given a gift, and it's up to us if we want to, see it grow. We water it daily and watch it grow. But then now with this gift, with this platform that we all have, some people can be, for you, like realtors, teachers, professional athletes, whatever it is, you have a platform no matter what, and you use that platform to help others and bring them along the way. And you just.
We have a comment from Juan Mendiola. ¿Dónde dejamos las stars? I don't know what stars he's talking about.
I'm trying to figure that out too. But and now it's just like I'm just trying to use my platform and try to help. For me, it's trying to find other kickers around. If it's in Mexico, when I have kicking camps over there in Texas, or even Canada here, right? I'm trying to train kickers and help them, get an education through kicking a ball.
Yeah. Well, and I'll piggyback off a little bit off this because you are a scholarship player, yes?
Mm-hmm.
You play college ball with a scholarship, and you know that I'm a walk-on.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the athletic ability that a lot of people had. If you look at the football team that we had, you had chingos of talent in that football team. So I didn't have that ability, and for me, it was more about going to wherever I got accepted to, because I got accepted to all the major universities because I was top 10%. I had the good grades, and that was my I don't want to call it gift.
Mm-hmm.
I had the brains to get from point A to point B, or go from the high school to college for that reason, academics, right? But I wanted to go and walk on. I wanted to go play football anywhere I could possibly get myself into. And so, Texas wasn't even my first choice. I thought that Baylor was going to be my choice because Baylor wasn't what it is today at the time. Baylor was, in my regard at the time, was probably a Division II or Division III school. And I said I had more opportunity to maybe play there as a walk-on than at the University of Texas, because University of Texas was big time. It's the University of Texas. So obviously I didn't play. Actually, I got one play in the University of Texas. So I'll tell you a little bit about that one. But I didn't have the talent that most of our guys had, and so I was a walk on, and I just gave it a thousand percent. You know what I mean? I know that the tryouts for the walk-ons, there was the hosted one day and whatnot, and I was one of the last ones to finish the one of the drills. We had to do these. They're called I Love Texas, and at the end of the 1.5 hour workout or 2 hour workout, you still had to do these bear crawls from yard line 0 to the other end zone, and every 10 yards you had to say, "Hey, I love Texas." It wasn't just saying it. For me, it was about screaming it, and that's when I fell in love with Texas. Just the I love Texas. Lombardi. I was the last one to finish that drill, and I was one of the only ones that was able to walk on that particular season.
Yeah.
And I had a class conflict. I wasn't able to join that season, but the following season, coach said, "Hey, come on in and make sure you're working out throughout the fall season. Come in every once in a while, and see what happens in the spring." So that was my walk on story, and I didn't have the talent that obviously you had or some of these other guys had, but for anybody aspiring to be a football player at the next level or an athlete at the next level, the best thing I can give them, and I'm sure you would agree, is just it's all right here.
It really is, because you see guys, like who is like, man, they're not the fastest, even at the pro level. They're not the fastest, they're not the strongest, but it's just they find ways to keep going the little extra, right? So it's just, and that's what it is. I remember, I remember little moments in life, and I remember, it was towards the end of your senior year, towards the end of my junior year, and I remember I was in the weight room at La Jolla, and you were working out too. And I remember we started chit chatting, and you said, "I'm gonna go walk onto University of Texas."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Let's go." And then time goes on, and you make the team. And honestly, bro, like till that day, that moment sticks to me, because I'm like, you know what? If you could make it, you're like a Rudy type of, a Rudy type where like it was not expected to make the team. You were not the biggest, not the strongest, but you found a way, right?
Yeah, that's the key. Found the way.
You found a way, bro. So it's just like little moments like that. It stood out to me. And I was telling Jackson, Jeffcoat, that story the other day, right? And
Did
it's
you
just,
invite him, bro? Did you invite him?
I did. He actually said yes. No más que he left early, and I was prepping some footballs, and I stayed a little bit later than usual.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I was talking to him about that story, and there's just moments that you have with people, right? And people thought, people thought like, oh, this guy's crazy. He's not going to make it, right? Coming from South Texas. Back then, not many people were playing college football, and especially D1.
Right. For sure.
And for you to break the barrier, bro, it was, it was pretty sweet.
Well, I wasn't the first one,
Yeah, because your cousin.
Well, Robert was one of them. Robert went to Wabash on a scholarship, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He went over to Arkansas with the Razorbacks, and he walked on there as well. But my friend Rene Nojosa and George Martinez were also walk-ons from the Valley there at the University of Texas. And I mean, our relationship, I think, between me and Rene at least, grew after the fact, like on this side of college versus being on college, because he was leaving as I was coming in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Our relationship actually grew more. I talked to him more today than I did back when I was
playing days.
He was leaving and I was coming on and whatnot. So, but you got Rene was from Westlaco, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it was Westlaco East or with the other Westlaco school. And then George was with one of the one of the private schools that's there in the Brownsville area. So, but you know, we did have athletes from the Valley, and if I'm not mistaken, man, there was another athlete from I'm not sure if it was the McAllen Mission or La Jolla area that actually had a scholarship at some point at the University of Texas. And then you have your Taylor brothers, you know, Jamal Taylor and what's his brother's name? I don't know his brother's name.
I can't
Jamal.
recall, but yeah, for sure, Jamar.
So they went and Jamal played with the New York Giants.
Mm-hmm.
So and he wasn't a walk-on, if I'm not mistaken. He was a full-blown scholarship, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So like you do have your athletes, but they're rare.
Yeah, like back then it was super rare.
Because what happens, man, and this is something to talk about too, is at the time when we were in high school and when we were in college, what I would see often was you had a player or you had an athlete that got a scholarship and they would end up coming home 6 months later. I saw that far too often.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you got an opportunity to experience that.
Oh, 100%.
And you know, you get homesick.
Yeah,
you get homesick, and so I think that you know you got to suck up that homesick feeling because
and honestly, bro, I think it's a culture thing. On because over here in Amarillo, we've been able to help kids, for soccer or football to get scholarships, and they leave and as soon as they come home, like after they leave and they come back, right? And so I talked to the parents. I'm like, what's the first thing you told them? When they say they wanted to come home, and they said, "Mijo, mija, if you want to come back home, come home."
Yeah.
And that's where that and here's the thing: your parents or your guardian, they are they're your rock, right? And as much as you want, as much as I wanted my mom to comfort me after 2 weeks of being in West Texas, I wanted to drop out, because I was because
Juan Mendiola. Sergio, I was just in Amarillo today.
Oh, the 806, man. Hey, go to El Tejaban, Juan, if you can go, man. It's my favorite Mexican restaurant, bro, by I-40 in Western.
You know Juan Mendiola?
Yeah.
Orale. I didn't know
we go way back. Pero it goes back to I think, to how you were raised. And after 2 weeks, I really wanted to quit. I was going to drop out. The border wall was a big issue back in the day, and I remember guys on the team, bro, like, when people make jokes and they're like joking around, but they're serious.
Mm-hmm.
And it just felt like, it was the first time experiencing, discrimination, a little bit of, racistas. And it was just like, man, I don't want to be here. And I remember calling my mom. She's like, "Mijo, ahora te amarras los cajones." You said, right? You said you were going to play football and you were going to do all this stuff. Ahora amárrate y ahí te quedas. And it's like, if my mom would have told me, "Mijo, vente pa acá, it's okay," I bet you I would have been on the first bus back home. So it starts with our guardians, our parents, or that mentor, that coach, right? That was there for you. So honestly, there's a lot of people I can name off, but it's just, my mom has been there from the get-go, and she was very, very loving, very caring. She has to be my mom and my dad. But she's very stern, very firm, and she can be, she went a little overboard at times, when I was younger, right? I would strike out. She's like, right? She'd be like, why are you striking out? You have glasses now. You should be able to see. And then she would be just yelling, ripping at me. I was like, God damn, Mom, chill out.
Yeah. So, I was a little bit, when I went to Austin, I was culture shocked. It's not the same as the Valley.
Mm-mm.
The Valley today has a lot more diversity than when we were in high school. But I was culture shocked because I wasn't used to anything other than the Hispanic community.
Mm-hmm.
You get up there. For me, I was gonna go play football wherever I went, but for me, it was just a cultural shock because I wasn't used to the different diversity. I was just like, oh man, what's going on? But I don't think I experienced it quite like you did. I think I was fine because I didn't know that there was anything such as a possibility of discriminatory towards me. I didn't feel that way because I didn't feel it. I think maybe I was blinded by it, or for me it was just, I'm gonna go play football. That's all I saw. Football. And I was gonna go be a math teacher. So I didn't see it. I know that some people experience it differently, So is you're saying that you kind of experienced that a little bit?
Oh yeah, definitely. And over there, I remember my first class. I think it was government or whatever it was. It was like 60 of us. There was only me and this African American, y todos güeros, and I was like, holy shoot, where am I now?
Yeah. So,
um,
Orlando says, after my dad passed away, I almost stayed in the Valley instead of going to UT on a scholarship, and my mom was the one who pushed me to follow my dreams as well. There you go.
yeah, man, props to that because it's we're very emotional people,
Yeah.
um, and
Dice Unai
he's
Torres,
out
I'm
here working. Yeah, yeah, he knows the good stuff. Um, but our parents go a long way, man. So it's like now that I'm a dad, it's just like I understand now when my mom used to say, "Ya no, nunca vas a dormir igual." And shoot, man, I don't sleep the same. Um, I go through anxiety now. I didn't think that was a thing.
Right.
Ever since I actually experienced anxiety the first time when I was in New York, in 2020, and just thinking like, what's gonna happen? Because that's when my son was born, and you just want nothing to happen. And for the first time, I had to seek help, right? Because it was, I couldn't just deal with it on
Mhm.
my own. So it's just, parents, going back to parents, when I say we now, because I'm a dad, it's just we have a big impact. Our parents have a big impact. The words go, a long way. I could be having a hard day, and my mom would be like, "Mijo, it's gonna be okay," and it's just like 3 simple words, and I'm like, "It is gonna be okay."
Mhm.
So, props to all the parents out there that show us love, but they're firm, which is what we need.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure, dude. And changing the topic a little bit. There goes my Mexican accent coming out. Changing the topic a little bit. So actually, you know what? Going back to the whole being in a cultural shock. I never thought I had an accent until I started hanging out with different people.
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, man, my accent is super heavy, dude."
Yes.
They would tell me. One time my friend said, "Hey, Luciano, can you rap?" I was like, "No, I can't fucking rap."
I can't do it. Yeah.
But you know what? I rapped the song one time, dude. I kid you not. I rapped the song. And to be honest with you, I won't be able to think of the name right now. But it was era música mariachi. And
Uh-huh.
I fucking rapped the shit out of that song, and like, So I remember that moment. But my accent was very fucking heavy, and
Yeah,
it's still is.
that was heavy for me. My accent was heavy, and my Spanglish was very heavy. I
Mhm.
struggled a lot my first 2 years in university because whenever, teachers at La Jolla, whenever we understand something in English, it tells us in Spanish,
Oh, that's what
right?
we should do, that, dude.
And even like I was writing my notes in college, in Spanglish just to write the notes faster, right? Because of several keywords in Spanish were faster than English or vice versa.
Yeah.
And I remember my buddy Craig Watts, who was on the football team, we're both history majors. He's like, "Serge, lend me your notes. I didn't go to class today." And he just calls me. He's like, "What the heck is this? It's in Spanish and English." I'm like, "Shoot, sorry, bro."
Hey, man, Spanglish, baby, Spanglish.
Yeah.
You were saying something. We were talking about the parents real quickly, man. And like I said, I was changing the topic a little bit. Um, how do you feel about academics and football, or
You're
academics and sports?
sports. You're a student before you're an athlete. And saludos, partner. El Adrian. Um, you're a student before you're an athlete, right? And it's just I think what being in athletics, bro, helps you. It teaches you to be accountable to your teammates, right? Like going to practice, being on time. So that actually helps you go be that same type of person as a student, right? So, and I remember, always asking my coach, my kicking coach, for questions, how can I improve in this technique, or how can I improve in strength? Same thing when I was struggling with pre-cal my freshman year in college. I remember there was 52 of us, and by the end of the year, there's only 18 of us. I kept going to Dr. Ambrose. That was his name. I will never forget. He's like, I kept asking, what do I got to do to keep getting better? Kept going to tutoring. So being an athlete, you're a student before you're an athlete, but I think being an athlete, it helps you develop those type of traits you need to, just be successful outside of sports.
Mm. Yeah, I agree, man. I had test a lot of your football ability, not too much, not so much your football athletics, but your ability to partake. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have that effort, those ganas, but I don't think the ganas start on the football field. I think the ganas start in the classroom at home.
Well,
You
yeah, it starts at home, bro. Because think about it, we've all been given a vision. We all been given a dream, and it's a seed. It's como una, and for you to see it grow is como una planta. You have to water it daily, right? So before you see it out there, right, you first got to see it up here, and that's where it's won, right? So I truly believe that everyone's been given a vision. Doesn't matter what type of circumstances, what type of background you're coming from, and it's okay if others don't understand that type of vision, and that's fine because it wasn't given to them, but it was given to you, right? And if you don't give it attention, later on you're going to regret it, right? And one of the regrets that I have till this day is not trying out for the snare drum on drumline.
The what?
For snare drum, and drumline, that's one of the regrets I'm going to have for the rest of my life because I never tried out for it. I was too scared, so I stuck with the bass drum. And so it's just yeah, so it's just it all starts up here, man.
Yeah, I attested back to like the home environment, the classroom environment. The effort that you put into that, it's gonna have some sort of pride for you. Like it's gonna give you that the pride to be able to participate on the football field.
Yeah.
And that's what I go back to. Just because being the fact that I'm a teacher too. Bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want my students. I always wanted my students to see that it doesn't start on the football field. It starts in the classroom. If you can't pass your class, you're not gonna fucking play.
Yeah.
It starts there, and if you don't put the effort into doing what you gotta do in the classroom, then
Mm-hmm.
what are the chances that you're gonna put the effort out here in the football field?
Exactly.
And I'm not saying that you're gonna be a great football player because you're smart. I'm saying that you put in the effort to be where you gotta be. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that being smart makes you a great football player. I'm just saying it's just that effort that really counts. That's what I'm talking about. I'm gonna do a quick shout out to one of my compadres here, Omar Gobea. He goes, Luciano, can you sign my jersey and can you give me a shout out? Omar Gobea, welcome horns, baby. So let's talk about a little bit about the college experience, bro. You obviously were a scholarship player. I have one of my favorite memorable memories on the UT football team is obviously the Big 12 championship when we beat Nebraska with a field goal. Justin Tucker, he made that. He just right there, and then we get shot up into the national championship where we don't win, but we're out there. So that's one of my most favorite, not favorite, but more memorable memories as far as the football field goes at the college level. And we can talk about a lot more. But what about yours?
For me, it would have to be my junior year. We are there's two moments, man. There's two moments. My junior year, I hit this. We're playing Abilene Christian University. My favorite kicker, before I proceed, Adam Vinatieri. For me, he's someone I grew up watching. So, the GOAT in Super Bowl. So that's someone that I try to aspire to be. But two memories. Number one is we're playing Abilene Christian. It's our last game against them because the following year they're going to go to D1, and it was homecoming. We're struggling at 7-0, 4 seconds before half, and I hit my longest field goal of my collegiate career, which is a 57, and we ended up winning that game. That was that, and then a couple weeks go by, and it's November 2nd, 2012. It's a day after my birthday, and that was the first game. Do what?
You said November 2nd?
November 2nd. Yeah, my birthday's November 1st. And yeah. And but that was the first game that my dad ever saw me play. And the first and only one, like in person, right? And it was before the game I remember getting real, just emotional and I felt like a little kid, right? Like finally, and my dad and I, we've fixed our, we're building our relationship right back. And like I said, my mom had to be my mom and my dad, growing up. And I just remember as a kid, calling my dad. I'm like, hey, I'm playing, at Chavez Middle School or, La Jolla, there was band, soccer, football, baseball. And, it just never happened until, I was 22 years old. He finally came and watched me play.
Yeah.
And boy, did I balled out right before the game. And I was just so nervous. And, we lost at the end of the game. It was a heartbreaker the way we lost. But for me, it was that's one of my most memorable. That's probably the most memorable college football game for me. It was my dad watching me play for the first time.
Yeah. So we'll come back to this comment the agent left here in a little bit. Piggybacking off your story a little bit, I was very fortunate enough that my parents, at the high school level, they came out, and when I was freshman, sophomore, junior, not so much, but yeah, senior year, once I began playing, they started to come out to the games and whatnot. Homecoming for parents, or what is it called, parent night or something like that.
Parent night.
But freshman, sophomore, junior, my parents were like, more my dad, you're not playing, why am I gonna go? You're on the bench, But funny, ironically, switched it around a little bit at the college level. He did. My parents went out to a couple of games. Didn't play, but they went out to a couple of games. Ironically enough, right? So a little bit different than you there. I was fortunate enough here that my parents were okay to be able to go out there to the games. Especially senior year, and then like I said, college level is a different story. So Adrian wanted us to talk about, can we talk about how the integrity or the lack thereof is directly affecting the quality of athletes and their opportunities at the college level?
It's just, gosh, you cannot get everything you need to do in a 2-hour practice, right? So the real question is, what are you doing outside of that practice window, right? And even here in the professionals, right? Like we practice, 2 hours cacho, right? Exclude the 30-minute warm-up walkthrough, so maybe an hour 45. And it's like, what are you going to do outside that hour and 45 minutes, right? So, and that's where the integrity goes, is like, what are you doing when it's cliche, when no one's looking, right? And for me, it was just, showing up at 6:30 in the morning, working on my craft, if it was, for football, and then, and for band after school, right? So little things like that is just, it taught me to, the present sufferings don't match to the future glory. The present sufferings don't match to the future glory. It's in the book of Romans, chapter 8. And it's very true. It's just when people are having fun. I remember in high school, I used to cancel dates on Friday night, because I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go work out. I'm gonna go kick, or I'm gonna go work on my soccer skills, right? At the time.
Right.
And it's just little things like that. You have to be a little bit selfish, but I think when you're young, and before you have kids, this for just, before you have big responsibilities, dedicate all the time that you can to yourself, right? High school, university, because it's before, once you get responsibilities, it's like, man, now how are you going to make it happen, right? You have all this stuff on your plate. And so it's just finding ways to get better when no one's looking, right? Adrian said, kicking 100 balls, man. Yeah, we'd be kicking
100 balls after practice, being the last ones on the bus.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, Adrian held your balls, right?
You did.
That's funny, right? But Adrian held the ball for you there, right?
Yeah, very well too. Kick some long ones with him.
Going back to his integrity thing, doing the right thing when nobody's looking. I told you guys at the beginning. I told you at the beginning. I was the last one to finish a drill on the day of the walk-on tryouts. We had an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of workouts, and the last thing we had to do these bear crawls. I love Texas. From one end zone to the other, and every 10 yards you had to do Lombardis, right? Five of them, and every one you had to yell out, "I love Texas." I'll tell you what, man. The reason I was the last one is because I probably did over 100 up downs that day after the workouts. And here's the thing, man. You had to do 5 up downs every 10 yards. That's 50 up downs, and I probably did close to 100, if not more. The the thing was that I wanted to make sure that I was doing the right thing, and I was the last one to finish. I didn't care that I was the last one. I just wanted to make sure that I was doing my 5 up downs. And here's the thing, man. I lost count every single time. I was like 10 yards. I was dead at start, and I had to think to myself, I have absolutely nothing to prove to nobody because number one, I wasn't even supposed to be here. You know what I mean? I wasn't supposed to be at a D1 walking at the D1 level. I had nothing to prove, and it's the last thing that we had to do there. We're doing the 10-yard bear cross. That's. You know, I love Texas. Do 1. I love Texas. Do 2. Fuck, I lost count. I love Texas 1. And this is so I fucking start all over again. And I kid you not, man. 10 yards again. I'm thinking to myself, hey man, it's time to quit. Nobody's gonna know. Just get up, pick up your shit, walk out the door. So that was my little moment of adversity. You know, I thought at the time I didn't belong there, you know. And so I just kept going. There was a little voice in my head that says, keep going, keep going, keep going. You know, get up. I love Texas. Lose count. I'm done probably in the first 20 yards. I've probably done about 30 or 40. You know, I love Texas. Keep going. Get to the 40, get to the 50. And by this time, most of the guys that were trying out were already finished, if not finishing up. And, you know, man, I kept thinking over and over again in my head, I can quit right now. None of these coaches know who my name is. I can walk out the door. I'm good. I have nothing to prove to nobody. And the fucking voice right here kept saying, just keep going. Keep going. I love Texas. And before you know it, I got to like the 60, and not the 60, but the 40 on the other side. Man, at this point, I was just fucking yelling it out the top of my lungs. I love Texas, fucking going down. And you know me, I like to yell in the weight room, and I just got to that point where I just needed to fucking just I love Texas, do another up down. I could get you not, man. I did, if not 100, more than 100 up downs when we were supposed to do 50 up downs, and I think that's what made me be a part of the team. You know, like I think coach said, you know what.
That little thing.
Yeah, that little thing. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the quickest. He wasn't the most skilled, but that little thing of integrity, you know. And I might have done 4 here and 7, 8, 9, 10 here, other, you know, more there. But, you know, I kept losing count. You know, I don't remember how many times I kept losing count. And, you know, I just started over again. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5. What is that, man? Just can't coach Hart.
That's right.
Adrian says,
AJ.
Hey, man, we're gonna have to bring him onto this podcast.
¿Verdad?
So yeah, man, that was my little moment of, you know, that's my push. That was I always had a voice in here that always said, even though I had nothing to prove to nobody, I just gotta keep going. I gotta keep going. You know, for me, that was it. I gotta keep going. And I can't quit. I can't quit. Had nothing to prove to nobody, bro. That was just me. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. Like, piggyback on that real quick. Is just I'm talking to myself every minute of the day, and especially on game day, man. And one thing is, we all go through negative thoughts throughout the day, right? Like, our mind is so good at it, we don't even have to try. And I remember this exercise that my sports psychologist in university taught me. It was my junior year, and she's like, Sergio, I want you to create a list of affirmations, 5 to 10 affirmations, you know, or verses, whatever makes you feel good about yourself. And then I want you to pick 4 or 5 of them, and then just put that list in your pocket. Whenever you think negative, pull that list out. I remember we did that exercise, and I got out of her, you know, the meeting session with her around, you know, 3:30, went to bed like around 11. I counted how many times I pulled that list out. And from 3:30 to 11 o'clock at night, I pulled that list out 63 times. That's how many times I thought negative. And there's probably a couple more that I missed. And until this day, man, every game I create a little small piece of paper, this big and this thick, and I put on my side hip pocket between my pants. And whenever I think I'm about to kick a field goal, or whenever I feel an ounce of doubt throughout a quarter, sometimes it can be one time that I have to pull that list out. Sometimes it can be 10 times a quarter. I don't know how my mind's going to react, but I got to be ready for it, right? And I feel that's one exercise that can help people, not just obviously in sports and anything, right, in life, And hey Trini, how you doing? That's that's one exercise that till this day helps me out, right? And it can be just 4 to 5 things to help you, just attack the mind, because everyone thinks positive. You're like, well, no shit, but how do I do it, right?
Yeah.
But that's one exercise that till this day it helps me out.
Let me ask you a question, Sergio. You have this little piece of paper in your side pocket. Yes.
Mhm.
You miss a field goal. What's your next thought?
I pull that list out, and my list is my list is the same every game. This is what it says. It says 1-for-1 field goal, right? The second one says Adriana Jared and I. I'm not just kicking for myself, but I'm kicking for my family, right? The third one is Luke 12:48, and it reads, "When much is given, much is expected out of you." So when I miss, I tell myself, I'm like, you know what? God trusted me so much to be with this team and this platform. So trust yourself, Serge. That's what when I says Luke 12:48, that's what I tell myself, right? The next one is Romans 8:18, right? The present sufferings don't match to the future glory. The fifth or sixth one that I have there, chingon mindset.
I love that one.
Tonight, I'm gonna prove that I'm the best kicker in the CFL, NFL, whatever league that I'm playing at the time. I'm gonna prove it tonight. And then in the back, I have one last thing. Whether you're ready or not, show up. Right. And there's times that I have to lie to myself. I'm like, I don't have the confidence, right? Shoot, or not the confidence, like, shoot, is this ball going to go in? I question myself. I'm like, screw it. I just lied to myself. I'm like, this ball's going in.
It's going in. Man.
So, I mean, we tell ourselves bad lies all the time. So why can't I tell myself a good lie?
Yeah, that's a very good lie to have. And the reason I'm asking you, man, is because, sometimes you see ball players throw an interception, or sometimes you see ball players not make the catch, or you make defensive lineman not make the sack, and I fucked up this play. Hey man, shake it off. Next play, let's go. Shake it, because you cannot let that one play define you for the rest of the game.
Yeah, you think about it, it's just it's a point game, right? You offense and defense, you go 60, 80 plays a game, right? As long as you can win the majority of the plays, you're going to be fine, right? So, unfortunately for me, I could only have 2, 3 a game, right? And but I think it's a very unique pressure. I love it. I want every game to be a game winner type of situation. But it's just you got to be comfortable, being uncomfortable, right? Be comfortable enjoying that type of pressure, which is very unique.
Yeah. So I know our time is almost up here, so I don't want to take too much time. You gotta go clean those dishes and whatnot. Even though you like it, right? You say it's
right.
Okay, bro. Moving forward, with football, and I actually let me back up a little bit because I actually wrote this question down. Is how do you feel that your high school football teammates, your college football teammates, and even your professional football level teammates, what's the level of camaraderie that you have with any of those players? Obviously you and I have a communication from here and there, stories, but what's your les hablas, you give them a call, hey bro,
yeah, like in high school, I'll probably have like a group of 8 to 10 friends from football, 8 to 10 from soccer, band, and baseball that I still keep in touch with, so same thing with college, and and same thing with pro teams, right? Because I've been with many teams. I've been a journeyman, right? So it's just to a lot of times I bond with people because I'm not a big rah guy. Like that speaks loud in the locker room. I'm just not that type of guy. I'm more of one-on-one type of relationship, right? Try to get to know you as a person. And my thing is I try to get to know someone different on the team every week. If it's either through like, hey, let's go golfing, let's go have lunch, let's go bowling or something, right? And it's just to get to know that person is like, and that's when you build that chemistry, because just build chemistry is like, it seems like an easy ingredient, but it's not. It's very hard. And the thing is, when you invest in spending time with getting to know the people that you work with, is like, okay, you know what, my boy is struggling in this. I'm like, I'm gonna check on him, how he's doing today. I'm not just gonna check how he's doing physically. Are you gonna be ready for the game? I'm gonna check how he's doing mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. You know, and I tried to do the same thing with one or two of my friends from college. You know, I try to keep communication, but it gets harder and harder, man, as time progresses. You know, I tried to maintain my relationship with Keyston and Christian, and we still talk on Facebook or social media here and there. But it used to be we used to call each other like every 3 or 4 months, 6 months, and then it got slower and slower. It got a year. You know, I don't remember the last time I spoke to Keyston. It's been a while now, but I know that he's doing great things. I think he had started a company of some sort with like dog treats or something like that at the time. So I haven't been able to maintain that relationship with my friends. You know, and Keyston was one of the I thought we're forever 100 years. And I'm sure we are. You know, I give him a call tomorrow. I'm sure we'll be able to talk and whatnot. And he's got his life, that's the truth of the matter. He's got his life. He's in a different state. He's got his family to worry about as well. And but shout out to him if he's seeing this at any given point. Shout out to him. Miss you, Keyston. And if you have any questions, or not questions, if you feel like giving me a call, man, let me know. My realtor script was kicking in right there. If you have any questions, if you want to buy a house, no, but I miss you, Keyston, miss you, Christian, Lamar, miss all my guys out there. Give a shout out to the defensive line at UT, man.
Hey,
right, baby. Moving forward, Sergio, football isn't forever. What's after football?
Till this day is just like, man, what do I want to do? But I'm fortunate, on my wife's side of the family, they're smarter than me. And when I made I was very fortunate to play in the NFL for 2020 for the amount I did, and I was able to make a very good amount of money. And my thought process was like, I'm just gonna put it in the bank and just save it, right? Yeah. I come as codo as they come, bro. My raíces run hardcore to from Monterrey, bro. And this is how cheap I was, bro. I was sleeping in a carpet, bro, with just a pillow and a blanket in New York, bro. I had nothing else, but I was so good with that. And I remember, my wife showing up, 7 months pregnant at the time. She's like, if you don't get my pregnant ass a bed, I'm gonna go back to Texas and have the baby in Texas. I'm like, oh shit. But so that was my thought process. I'm just gonna save the money, but fortunately they helped me, think outside the box, right? And been able to purchase, several properties, homes, and being able to rent them out. So that's my goal is honestly, I started thinking outside, porque ya estoy más para allá que para acá in my football career. Mm-hmm. So if I could keep buying houses, so I retire,
give me a holler, bro.
That would be the goal, right? My goal is to buy, as many houses I can, right? One house. My goal, honestly, is to buy one home every off season, right? And just invest in that. So, I mean, other than that, I haven't thought much about it. I thought maybe about coaching or maybe just being a teacher. I just don't, I don't know, maybe coaching in high school, or maybe try the pro life, football life. I don't know yet. So one thing that I've been doing this year very well is I live very, very in the moment. Very in the moment. And it's just like,
and that's not easy to do, man.
It is not, bro. And it is not easy. And this is the first time in my life that I'm able to do it. It's like, I'm literally just focused all in on this podcast right now. I'm not thinking about cleaning the dishes. I'm not thinking about tomorrow. I'm not thinking
about cleaning your
¿verdad? I'm not thinking about the game on Saturday. I'm just here right now.
Yeah. And that's not easy, man. I in this podcast, I'm watching the comments come in. I want to make sure that I'm sharing them as well, because some of these guys, obviously you play with Adrian, Orlando and Juan Mendiola, and who most of these people are, and I wanted you to be able to see that these comments are coming through. So I'm over here focused on that as well, and then I'm reading the questions. So it's not an easy task to focus on the now and the present.
It's an ongoing process, right? And one thing that I try to do every day, Appreciate it. One thing I try to do every day is I try to dedicate time to myself. Even if it's just 5-10 minutes, the first 5-10 minutes of the day, I'm like, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What doubts am I having? What visions, what good visions I'm having, right? You
Mhm.
know, and I give it attention, right? So it's like if there's a bad thought, I question it, why, and then once I'm like, this thought's not even real. Throw it out the window.
Mhm.
Um, an example of a vision a year ago, I wanted to do photography, and I'm like, do I want to do it? Do I not want to do it? Kind of started doing TikTok videos, and it started blowing up.
Mhm.
Mainly
Eh,
because
Go ahead. Go
mainly
ahead.
because of the Sunday soccer, right? And my commentating in Spanish. But I'm
Yeah.
like, I fell in love with the editing and all that stuff. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I want to try photography. So I questioned it. I gave it more time, and before we got a camera, and now that's what I try to do as a hobby now, right? So, but because I was able to give myself time, I was able to exploit that vision, and now I'm living it.
So who edited your mini golf there in the locker room? Like
So that's our team, our social media team, man. They
that was
are.
fun to watch, man. I had a blast watching.
It was funny because our social media team comes up to us like, "Hey, Sergio, you're going to be one of the guys we're going to put a mic on during walkthrough, and we're just going to record you, see if you say funny stuff." I'm like, "Bro, I'm not going to do anything in walkthrough. I don't even kick the ball." And they're like, "What? You don't like walkthrough? We don't do anything physical. It's the day before the game." And so we started playing putt putt, and what we do is we put. I mean, you saw the video, but every home game, what we do is we play 2 rounds of golf, and lowest score wins. And we do that every home game between the special teams coach, my snapper Benson, and my punter holder Jabs.
The coach
And
joins you.
do what?
The coach joins you.
He's the one. He's a commissioner. He's the one that makes up
He's
all these rules. He he
sponsored.
changes it on the fly when he's losing. And
Bro, yo
shout
me
out to
acuerdo. Yo me
yeah, shout
acuerdo. Like, the special teams guys always doing some funny ass shit, man. The locker room.
yes,
So
yeah,
always doing some
yeah.
funny ass shit,
Yeah,
dude.
shout out to Coach Boo right there. But so yeah, our social media team, I'm like, look, if you want to record this, man, I think this will be more entertaining. This is something that we do on the daily basis. We just do dumb stuff to make time go by faster. As you can tell, I'm not a ping pong player. I don't play it much compared to other guys.
I can't tell, bro. Cannot tell. So we're closing up here, man. I don't know. I really don't want to take more of your time. I don't know what time is it over there right now.
No, we're the same time, Central Time,
Oh,
7:37.
and I can take more time. You're fine. I'm
Dale gas.
no, man, bro. I know you gotta take care of your stuff and whatnot. But we'll close with these remarks, man, or this question for you, man. What can you tell aspiring football players or aspiring professional players, especially around here, in our area, the kind of high school students, middle school students that we were? What can you tell our younger selves or the students today about getting to the next level?
There's another world outside of Alfurias, Texas. There's another world. There's another world outside the valley, and the valley is always going to be there,
Yeah.
right? So if you have this window to pursue a dream, an opportunity outside the valley, go do it, and then come back to the valley, which is an amazing place. Which is I've been begging, the wifey. I'm like, I want to move back to the 956. It's just the culture is just so unique. It's just like the more that I'm gone, the more I appreciate it every time I go back home and visit. Right?
And the food, bro.
Oh, bro, man,
The
you know, Taqueria La
food.
Mary on la Homa 5 Mile Line, Papa.
So part of my culture shock was the fact that Mexican food wasn't as authentic and awesome as it was here.
Yeah, yeah,
That
bro.
was-
For the first 2 years, bro. First 2 years in college, bro. I didn't have a vehicle, and I didn't think there was Mexicanos, bro. So in Amarillo, Texas, it's a small airport, 4 gates, and then Canyon, Texas, is about 30 minutes from the airport, and the only time I would go to Amarillo, which is like the city, which it really wasn't big because it's only like 200,000 people, was when I would fly in and fly out, and that's it.
Mhm.
So I didn't know there was Mexicanos. If there was Mexicanos, I didn't know about Mexican restaurants, bro.
Yeah.
Pinche Taco Bell, that's all there was in Canyon, Texas.
Mhm.
So for the first 2 years, bro, my mom would send me tortillas de harina
Oof.
with bistec y salsas de la taquería Ramirez, bro, on Expressway 83.
You know what? I've never actually eaten there, bro.
Bro, I would live there. And then shout out to Felix Villalobos. His mom would send me some like food that she would make, bro, too.
Uh,
Because I didn't know there was Mexicanos because I didn't have a car for 2 years.
yeah.
And coming to find out, there's a shitload of Mexicanos in Amarillo. I just didn't have a car.
No, bro. You know, and that goes back to the culture shock that I was talking about. Like, aquí en el Valle son puros mexicanos, you know,
Yeah.
and that more so today. Yeah, the diversity you can see it.
Mhm.
Pero allá in Austin, dude, like yo pensé que no había mexicanos tampoco, and there
Yeah.
was my roommates Orlando and Juan. You know, they were the only Mexicans I knew. You know, pero I didn't know like beyond. And you get closer to the university, you go to classes, you start to see them. Pero like, dude,
Very little.
yeah, I didn't know where you could eat, you know, good Mexican food. We ended up finding one place by our apartment, Taqueria Randinas or something like that. It was
Mhm.
all right. It was all right. It wasn't the same as Taqueria Mary's here. Pero estaba good, you know, it was enough, close enough. And we got to the point when we were living in our apartment, we were making our own food in the apartment complex and whatnot. So we had a good time. I have a favor to ask you, man. We talked about this one particular student.
Mhm.
You know, I don't know what you can do for me there. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, this.
So
Go.
yeah, so we were trying to you know, special shout out to this particular young man.
Yes. Special shout out to Jesus. I'm assuming they call you Chuy Luna. Look, man. Um, there's gonna be highs and lows, and just when a low comes, just see it as a way to learn, right? And it's just we're all gonna make mistakes. Even me being at 33 years old, I still make mistakes, right? So just know that the good thing is that there's still gonna be another day that's gonna come, another opportunity. So people we call wise is because they learn from their mistakes. So you're on your way to becoming a wise man. Just know that through the highs and the lows.
Yeah, I appreciate that very much, man. We'll send this video out to one of his coaches there, and appreciate you, man, for being here, dude. Like I cannot thank you enough. And this, I started the podcast about 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, and it
Mhm.
just occurred as one of those things. And I'm gonna see if I can get it out there and just shoot the breeze with somebody, on
Mhm.
the other side, and uh, let them talk a bit more about themselves. Maybe put some of my 2 cents in there, and I started off with a loan officer, and the following week I said, "Man, I like doing this. It was fun." I hit up my broker. Hey, broker, you wanna come up on the show? And he goes, "Yeah, man." So we did that one yesterday, last night, and we had a blast with it. And when I asked you, dude, I hadn't even thought about I know you're busy. I know football is fucking like insane schedules, and I was
Go
like,
go go.
but I said, if you got an opportunity, man, it'd be great. And just to have out here, just because you have a story, bro. You have a story. I have a story. A lot of our friends have their own stories as well. But you have a story that is inspirational. Not just to me, because I look up to you all the time.
I
Yeah, you
appreciate that.
said that there was a little bit about me that you looked up about, but I look up to you all the time. You're from La Jolla, you're from the area, you're Raza. You're up there in the big times. And it's admirable, and it's something that shit I wish I could have fucking done. Maybe go on to an NFL, but it's not something that was in my storyline. Um, but it's admirable, and it's very inspiring, and I appreciate you being on here, man, and telling your story, and couple of things that couple of moments that we shared together, and whether it was high school, or I know that a few years ago we were going back and forth at Instagram about getting up at 5 in the morning, and I know that shit was fucking hard.
Yeah.
I'm not
Uh,
doing it. I was getting up at 4:30, 5 o'clock. But
yeah.
we would support each other and say, "Hey, man, did you get up?" I go, "Yeah, man."
Yeah. I remember that, bro. Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciate that, man. Like I said, man, I've always looked up to you, and you've been an inspiration not only to me, but I'm sure like chingos of other people. And I can't thank you enough for being here, man.
Nah, man. Well, I appreciate you having me. I hope that we were able to spark, good conversations that people like to hear, or people that needed to hear something, from this, right? So if they ever have any questions, or any help regarding, something with football that I can help with, or that process or sports in general, for people not to hesitate to reach out. So I saw Coach Garcia was, listening to. So saludos to Coach
I
Aaron
said
Garcia.
his comments, but the only way to find out is doing it, baby.
That's right.
And he threw some ojitos at you earlier. Nah, man, this was fun, man. I appreciate you being on here, man. If you have any final words or remarks for our audience, we got about 6 listeners currently right now. Coach Garcia with his little arms right there.
Yeah. Like I said, if you guys have someone that needs help, that's in high school or you want to know how the process is to going to college, I'm here to help out anyway. And then we play Saturday at 5:30 on CFL Plus. I can send you the link and maybe you can post it.
We'll post it on my
Yeah, and maybe you guys can watch. And so like I said, it's the way it works in the CFL. You have 18 regular season games, and there's a quarterfinal, a semi, and a championship, which is a Grey Cup. And we had a first round bye because we got first place on our side on the West Division, and we're playing the semis now at home on Saturday. And hopefully we can do our thing.
No, man, good luck there, man. Just one final quick question. Hey, do you watch the Kelsey brothers?
Oh yeah,
they're funny, right?
Yeah, I watched the documentary on the O-line Kelsey.
Yeah,
and that's when I started paying attention. Bring the Grey Cup. That's the plan. That's when I started watching their podcasts.
Yeah, me too, man. And I've enjoyed it, and that's kind of like the reason why I started this.
Mm-hmm.
On top of everything that I was thinking about, I wanted to listen. I listened to them. They're funny, and it's just casual conversation, dude. It's
that's
not
all it is.
Yeah, it's casual conversation. Maybe the breakdown of their football games, and I enjoy that. Dice aquí mi camarada Ricky Ramos, saludos, go Eagles. Report comment, baby.
I like that one.
We got some competition in the comments, man. Sergio, we wish you luck, man, this Saturday. Go kick some ass, man. Go kick the crap out of those balls. Good luck. Thank you for being here, and we wish you nothing but the best, bro.
I appreciate it, man. Saludos, puro 956.
Puro 956, bro. Stay on the what's it called right here backstage, and we'll be with you in a little bit.